What's up guys, Anthony Vapes here today with my review of the Geekvape Peerless RDA. See, it says Peerless over here. I'll be using my PWM box with the Big Al PWM chip in it. Awesome chip, by the way, but that'll be another video. Nonetheless, I don't want to waste too much time on the intro because I got a lot of stuff to go over. So disclaimer wise, none of that's going to be needed at all. I purchased this myself. I paid less than 20 bucks for this. I got it from eFun. So I'll throw down a link below. And yeah, so that's about it for the disclaimer. None's going to be needed. So let's go ahead and shoot into the up close. Then I'll be back here. I'll show you how to build it. I'll show you how to wick it. And then we'll be back here with my pros, cons, and whether I'd recommend this or not. Alright, so let's take an up close look at the Geekvape Peerless. Before I get into the RDA itself, take a look at the box. Comes in this typical Geekvape box. You get a different top cap here. This will take a 510 tip. You got a little screwdriver tool. Inside of here, we're going to have a squonking pin. Always nice. Some spare screws. Some O-rings. Other good stuff. Here's your little side cap with your airflow. Your top cap. And your deck. So you have a slotted screw in there. You have a screw to take out your negative hole if you wanted to. Here's your positive. It's got big old holes, and then it also has this on the top here. This top is for smaller coils. I'm going to try to squeeze these ones in there. They basically squeeze in on the side of there, and then when you screw it down, they get a little bit bigger. Here, let's try to get this in there. You'll see that's how it's going to get down. So on the bottom, you need to have that. So you can't use both of these at the same time. You have to use an outside one and an inside one. And they're not really staggered, so if you can't fit your coils in here, you have to basically use them like it's flat. So I would have liked to see it more staggered, or, I mean, I know they made this specifically for smaller builds, which is cool. I mean, it's good to have the variety of it. But it would have been nice to have these holes a little bit bigger, in my opinion. You can see here on the screw. You can see how the screw has steps on it. And they're very nice. Very big, very good quality hex screws. Absolutely love that. So yeah, let's throw a build in it. It's got a pretty nice juice well in here too as well. Alright, so now if we're going to try to use this like I'm going to use it, what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to take out the top screw. So that's what I want to work on first. And I'm going to slide this in. And I want to get the top part done first. So what I'm going to do is try to get in here. And I'm basically going to use the lead on the side. Then I'm going to get my first one in. And of course we can put a stick in here to make it stay steady. And there we go. So you can actually fit, you know, decent sized coils in there like that. And then this one's going to have to be stretched out a little bit using pre-made coil. So I'm going to stretch it out a little bit so that it can get into where it needs to be. And screw this one down. I also like the top screws coming in the whole time because on your bigger wires like this, it's not going to bend them. You know, a lot of the wires we use are bigger and flatter, so what happens is when you put, side screws into it, it bends the wire. In this case, no need. See, it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and get the other side slapped in. All right, now that we have both coils in, we just want to work out hot spots. So we just need ceramic. I'll use a ceramic rod, or you can use ceramic tweezers. And we're just going to go ahead and fire this away. Now we're just going to keep brushing back and forth until the two sides heat up evenly. Just pulse it. And they look a lot brighter than they actually are. I'm not heating up that hot. They're like a dull orange just because the flash is hitting it from my camera. It looks like it's a lot brighter than it is. It's also hitting this one a little bit harder. But you can see, well, I don't know how well you can see it, but they are heating up nice and evenly. 0.34, it's pretty good. All right. So we are good to go. Let's go ahead and let it cool down, and then I'll show you how to wick it. All right, so wicking, it's an RDA, so it's not really a difficult thing to wick. You're just gonna take your cotton. I like to use cotton bacon, so you just pull off a piece, and we're just gonna slide it on through. And you wiggle it back and forth, make sure it's not too tight in there. And then we're just going to do the same on the other side. Alright, so after we do that, we cut our leads. We'll be able to cut them more a bit if we want. But I like a fluffy cotton, so I'm going to go ahead and fluff mine out. Works really well with a pair of angled tweezers. I mean, you can find these anywhere for pretty cheap, a couple bucks, definitely under $5. And they are a great tool to have if you're going to be building. So just get them nice and fluffy. And we got ourselves some nice fluffy cotton. And then at this point, we don't have to do any angle cuts or anything special because it's an RDA. So we just take them and tuck them into the deck. Now we're just going to go ahead and wet them up. I'm going to use some of this stuff because it is good. Tastes just like a Samoa cookie. And I'm kind of a messy, impatient person, so I'm just going to drip all over the coil. There you go. Everything's pretty full on it. And then just so we don't get spit back, you just take a little paper towel and wipe off my coils. That's called being impatient and trying to do it fast. Alright. That's pretty much all there is to it. This bad boy's going to be ready to vape. Admittedly, not the best looking build thrown in them, but it's going to work pretty good. And then putting it back together is pretty much a breeze. It's got your little cap on here. And then your top part. You want to make sure your air holes are obviously lined up with your coils. You just turn your top to adjust your air like that. And let's take quick measurements. 24 millimeter wide. and about almost 33 high. We're good to go. Alright, so now we're back here on the outro. I showed you guys the up close and how to build on it. So let's go over my pros, cons, and that other good stuff. This is the build that I'm vaping on, the one that you see in the up close. Let's start off with the pros. First pro is going to be the flavor. I do get excellent flavor out of this. Not going to say it's the best flavor around. When you talk about best flavor, you really want bottom airflow, but side airflow also gives very good flavor, and this does a very good job of it. And the chamber is not that big, so you don't need to build huge in order to not mute your flavor. Next one's going to be clouds. You can definitely put some cloud chucking builds in this if you want. As you can see, that build can also chuck some clouds. Next one's going to be the build deck. I really do like the build deck on it. It's very unique. The top post holes, they work very well as long as you don't go too big on your wire. If you're going to start using really big wire like the, like stapled fuse claptons and all those other fancy words thrown together. If you're going to use those, you're going to want to use the bottoms only. But if you use a, good size but not too large, you can use the bottom and the top, so you don't have to worry about keeping them level. You'll be able to stagger them, which is a lot easier because our leads come in from top to bottom, so most decks should be staggered, and you can build it using a staggered version like I did. There's a lot of options on the build deck, so that gets a pro for me. Next one's going to be the quality. Like most Geekvape products, this is a very good quality, especially at the price point. I mean, RDAs go for like 50 bucks, 60 bucks, some of them, for their quality. This is not going to be much worse off than a really expensive RDA. It's really not. So the quality is very good, especially at the price point of around 20 bucks these cost. Next one's going to be the post screws. I absolutely love the post screws. The screws they use in these are better quality than the ones you see in $50 atomizers. They're big hex screws. They're not going to strip. They're very good quality. They're going to last you a very long time and a lot of builds. So I absolutely love the post screws on it. I wish more atomizers use good screws like this because they're a very, very important part. The screw is what gives you your solid connection. If you don't have a solid connection, that's going to cause you issues. So very important part, and they do a good job at that. My next one's going to be the looks. It's a very nice looking RDA, very simple. It's got the nice little drip tip on it. Just says Peerless on the side. It comes in a variety of colors as well. Next one's going to be the color options. There's a ton of different color options. I don't know how they all look in person because the way they look on the pictures usually isn't the same. This one's definitely a little bit of a lighter gold than it looks in the picture, but it's still a very nice looking gold. Next one's going to be the drip tip. The drip tip does a great job at dissipating heat. Great job at dissipating heat. This thing will not get hot when you chain vape it, which is really important because you don't want your lips to get hot. And last but not least for pros is going to be the price. At less than 20 bucks, it's pretty hard to say, to not like a price like that on such a good performing and good quality RDA. And if you want to throw another pro, you absolutely can. Just drip down the center. I'm actually going to do that right now. So let's get into the cons of this. Don't have a lot of them. The first con is going to be this chamber part. This will get really hot. This chamber part here will get really hot on these big builds. It's not very thick, nor is it very insulated well, so the heat from your coils is directly going back onto the chamber. The good thing is this bottom part here that actually touches the deck, and the drip tip does not get hot. It's just this part in the middle is going to get hot on you. So it's not going to make your mod heat up, and it's not going to heat up your lips. So it's not bad. I mean, vaping high wattage, big builds, it's going to generate a lot of heat, and there's just no way around that. If you want the flavor, you want the clouds, you're going to generate a lot of heat to do that. But I did felt it was worth mentioning that this middle part will get pretty hot. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the cons. I don't have a lot of cons on it. I mean, RDAs are simple devices. There is a lot of good ones out there. It's hard to make a bad RDA. So there's always a lot of good choices of them. I'm going to be doing some RDA reviews coming up, a lot of them. So yeah, this is definitely a great RDA, so would I recommend it? I don't like to do hard yeses or nos. There is a large sea of great RDAs, but this one definitely deserves to be in there. I'm going to lean heavily towards a yes on it. If you're looking for a good RDA that's easy to build on, it's good quality, it's a good price, it has good post screws, it's going to give you good flavor in clouds depending on how you want to do it. It's hard to say no to this RDA. It just is. It's really well built, really good quality. It's your typical Geekvape product. Good performance, good quality at a good price. I mean, it's rare I come across one of their products that I really don't enjoy. And the good thing is they don't cost an arm and a leg, so most people can afford them. I mean, they're not that much more expensive than someone buying like a Goon clone. And for my purposes, I like this better. I was never a huge fan of the Goon. Just wasn't. So yeah, so I'm gonna pretty much call it a yes. If you are in the market for an RDA at a good price, definitely take a look at this one and see if it's something that you want. That's all I got for you guys today. I want to thank you all for watching. Give me a like and subscribe, please. I'll put it up this section here. I'll put up a little subscribe button for you to click to subscribe to me. Click on the bell for notifications. I'll also throw up a link to another video somewhere over here to watch. I haven't decided which one it's going to be, but right around here somewhere. There's going to be a video here for you to click at some point soon. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I got links down to all those below as well. So this way you can kind of keep up and interact with me if you want. Or if you want to ignore me, feel free. Doesn't matter. Comment down below if you have any feedback, any questions, any comments. I do try to answer them all. Just a disclaimer, sometimes YouTube doesn't notify me. Sometimes I try to reply to one and it gives me an error and doesn't let me do it. So if I don't reply to you, don't take it personal. I do try to reply to every comment that gets made, but sometimes I'll either miss one because I don't get a notification, or it just doesn't let me do it and I get frustrated and give up. But I do try my best to answer all your questions and comments and stuff. Other than that, hey, I actually reached 1,000 subscribers, so pretty happy about that. I'm moving up in the world. So I'm reaching a little bit of a bigger audience, which is good. You know, I want people to be able to enjoy my reviews and get good information that, you know, is not going to be unbiased. It's not going to be biased. You know, it's going to be fair. I'm going to treat every device as its own thing. I'm not going to, you know, play partial to any company or anything like that. I'm basically just going to say this is what the device is. This is what it does. Is it good or not? It's a pretty simple thing. And I think it's just the way that most reviews should be done, on an even keel, where you're not really playing favorites or anything. You're just taking each device for what it is. Doesn't matter what the name brand, doesn't matter, you know, what it is. It says, if this is what it says it does, I want to make sure it does it, and if it does it, I'll give it a good review and a good recommendation. If it fails in some way, I'll let you guys know it fails so you can avoid it. I have no issues doing that. I don't care where the device came from. I don't care if I bought it, if it was sent to me, whatever. If it's a bad device, I'm going to tell you guys it's a bad device. That's simple. And if people don't like it, too bad. And yes, it does get people trolling me because fanboys come in and they want to get mad because I gave a bad review to something. At the end of the day, get over it. It's that simple. You don't have to agree with my opinions. I'm just giving you an honest opinion on my assessment of things. And that's all there is to it. So, I want to thank you guys for watching. This is Anthony. Vapes is always keeping it honest. Hopefully you guys can say you're doing the same thing, and I'll catch you on the next review.